Welcome back. So in this installment of working with arrays in JavaScript, we are going to be adding items to our little adventure game. So we currently had some items that we had put in our backpack, but instead of starting with the items in the backpack, which was a nice way to learn about using arrays, this time what we're going to do, I'm just going to comment those out so we're not using them, is we need to create an additional couple of arrays. And what we're going to do is create an array and call it items. And then we can populate that. Now, as you know, it's been mentioned multiple times, we could do this all in one line. But in this case, I'm not going to, but I'll say knife, and then flashlight, and I'm putting spaces between the items here because sometimes my fingers remember to type a space, sometimes they don't. As you can see in our actions array, we don't have spaces between the elements. So the spaces after the comma don't matter. What matters is we're putting commas, and I'm going to just change this to match to box of matches. I'd say a matchbook, but nobody has matchbooks anymore. And we have a flashlight, so I don't want to say a lighter, so I'd say box of matches. Simply because our language that we're going to use uses a singular, so we say a box of matches or a flashlight or a knife, because a matches sounds kind of odd. And well, I don't want to do that. Now, what we do need to do is we need to keep track of where we're going to drop these items into our game. So we're going to put these into our game world into different places on the map. So we will just do it based on the number or position of their map location. So I'll say item. So let me try again. Let item locations equal, and then square bracket, and then I'm going to drop the knife at item or location number 3. I'm going to drop the flashlight at location 1, and I will drop the book of matches or box of matches at location 6. So we have added items to our world, and we've said where we're storing them. So we're again using a one-dimensional array here. We could use two-dimensional arrays. We could even create an item object, which has a property of item name, item location, so we could store it that way. So there's some other things we could do that would allow us to get deeper into working with arrays. But on this first project, as we delve into this, we're going to just keep it simple and have multiple arrays instead of object arrays and two-dimensional arrays, and we'll just keep making arrays to store these things. And probably what you're going to come to realize is, gee, this starts to get cumbersome, maybe there's a better way, and that's when we start using objects or multi-dimensional arrays. Now, adding objects doesn't change anything in our play game yet. It's only when we try to drop objects or when we try to pick up objects or to use objects. So when we're doing action related things with objects, that's when we'll have to modify what's going on within our play game. But what we do need to do is we need to change what we're doing with display so that our display is now giving us what items are existing in our world, because the items could be in our backpack, which when we figure out how to pick something up to take something, then we need to add it to our backpack. But for now, I'm just going to put a comment here in display and say this is my backpack. And now we're going to use a very similar kind of structure, and this will be for our items. And I'm just going to make a variable and call it let item on ground be equal to and currently an empty string. Now we'll populate that if there are any items. So we use our standard for loop, and we can just do index I, and then it's going to be the items array. We'll be working on its length there, and then what we can say is if the current map location, because remember we have our item location array and it's identifying where something is. So we're going to check and say if our current map location is equal to the item's location for the item element that we're checking in the array. So if we are there, then what we want to do is say item on ground is going to be equal to, and I will use then a template literal or string literal, so hash mark, again, the key right below escape in the top left corner of your keyboard. So this is not a single quote, it's the hash mark UCA, and this is why I needed to change matches to box of matches. Then we can reference what we are looking at, and this will be items I. So as we're looping through the array, we go and find this, and then we say we see it here, and then once again we'll add in a break, close hash there, so that now adds that item. So what it will do, if we see multiple items, it will say you see a knife here. Next line will say you see a box of matches here. So it won't just say you see and then list the items. It's going to, because we could do that, we could store those items and just keep adding it to the string. We could, but I'd rather just have them list out as separate entities. Now you'll see this default that happened when I constructed this. Doesn't really matter, we're not using that where it created that constant, so I'm just going to delete it to organize my code a little bit better. So now we have our map location, we have our game message, and then after the game message here, then what I want to put in is going to be $ curly brace, close curly, and another line break. Now inside here we will say item on ground. So now it adds that into our code. We don't have to change anything else. So what we've really done here is it's a small addition. We've added items to our game world, so we took them out of our backpack. So our backpack is now starting empty. And we are only going to find the items in the world. So we can save this and jump over here. Now my backpack contains, and well, it's empty. But if I go west, whoop, wrong item here, west, here I see a knife on the ground. If I go south, I see a box of matches here. And north, we have to get over to square number 1, east, and now we see a flashlight. So we can see that we've put the items into our world, and they're now existing based on that location. So we're using map location, comparing that to the item's location, and seeing if something is there. And the system will, once we add and drop objects, we could pick up everything, we could drop them all in one square, and then we leave that square, come back, and we'll see that those objects are still there, because then we will be updating the location, the item's location array for that particular object. So the key thing to keep in mind when we're working with this, we have these two arrays, and the first one in items needs to correspond to the first one in item locations. Flashlight corresponds to the second item. Book of or box of matches corresponds to the third. So we have 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2 for their array position. So we just need that relationship. So as long as we maintain that, we're going to be in good shape as we kind of add and drop objects into the world, which is what we are going to do next.